Good morning, guys, and happy Wednesday. We're going to start today by talking about some fractions, and we're going to talk about putting them in order. So at the top, we see the directions: order the following fractions in decimal on the number line below. Now notice there isn't a number line. That's because I want you to make one. Um, so I'm going to make a number line. And when I'm thinking about what to make as my range on my number line, I'm going to go from zero and I'm going to look at my numbers. And I notice that I have this one here that is more than a whole. So I know it has to go past one, but it's only one whole, more than one whole, but not quite two. I'm going to say we're going to go to two wholes, which means I'm going to have a one here in the center. I can think of between 0 and 1 is a half, between 1 and 2 is 1.5, and I can work from there. Now, I'm going to start with that biggest number, which is 1 and 5/6. If I think of 1 and 5/6, I definitely know it's bigger than the center line here. It's bigger than 1. It's more than 1.5 because 1 and 3/6 would be 1.5. It's only missing 1/6 from being two wholes. So I'm going to say 1 and 5/6 is going to go way over there. Now, from this point, notice that every single number that we put down is less than this, less than 1. So we know that every number that we put down from this point has to be on the left side of my number line because they're all less than 1. We'll look at a couple of them. So let's say we are looking at, let's do 2. We'll start with 8/9. If I'm looking at 8/9, I know that is not quite a whole because remember it would take 9/9 to make a whole. So we're missing 1/9 from being a whole, but I know it's close to a whole because we're only missing one small piece. So I'm going to say 8/9 is close to a whole there. If I'm looking at this one, 4/10, I know that 4/10, remember we could also write it as a fraction, 4/10 is a little less than half because 5/10 is the same as half. 4/10 is a little bit less, so I'm going to put it then a little bit smaller than half. As you're working through those, think also, is there or are there any other strategies that I could use? I want to give you an example for a couple. Number one, could you make this easily into a decimal? And I think you could, 1/5. And then number two, think about this number here, 9/12. And what would that number be the same as? Could you simplify that number to tell me what it's the same as by dividing by a greatest common factor? Think about that as you're making your number line there. All right, move on to the center section. It says to find the perimeter and area of the right triangle. Now, first off, when we're finding the perimeter, remember it's just the distance around the outside. So I'm just going to add together 19 and 7900 plus 14 plus 14 more. And that's going to give me my total perimeter there. Remember, perimeter is just the distance around the outside. Now, perimeter is always just going to be in basic units, which in this case is centimeters. So I'm going to say centimeters for perimeter. Now, when we get to the area, remember that we talked about the area of a triangle is like taking a rectangle. So if we added a second right triangle there, it's like taking a rectangle, finding the area of the rectangle. So remember, to find the area of a rectangle, we say area equals the length times the width. That's for a rectangle. So I see a length and a width, which are the same in this case. So I'm going to say 14 times 14 is going to give me some number. We'll just call that number x. 14 times 14 is some number. Now, because this is a right triangle and not a rectangle, that is the area of the rectangle. Because I only need the area of the right triangle, I'm going to take whatever that number is that I just came up with. And remember, I have to divide by 2. Whatever that answer is, I have to divide it by 2. Now, second thing I want you to remember is when we go to area, we're talking about units that aren't linear anymore. They're not in a line. They are square units. So we're going to be using square centimeters. Square centimeters is going to be our units there. So think about that as you're finding the area and perimeter of the triangle. All right. Last part. Diana, Marlon, Kaylee, Rosemary, and Alyssa went out for dinner over the weekend to their favorite restaurant, Ketchup Cafe. Each of the girls had $100 in her pocket. They ordered 23 bottles of ketchup. Seems like a lot. For $8.48 each. So 23 bottles for $8.48 each. Okay. And let's see. After dinner, they went to Target to buy three matching ketchup bottle hats, and the total of all three hats was $27.46. Now, $27.46 is the total of all the hats. All right. The question is, if they split all the costs, how much will each have to pay? So if they split the cost, how much will each pay? So when we're splitting the cost, it's important here that it says if they split the cost among the five of them. So there's going to be five people. Now, when I'm thinking about splitting costs, I'm thinking about one operation in particular, which is that one, division. We're splitting something up. Now, in order to split something up, we need to know, well, how much did they spend in the first place? Well, can we find, first off, how much they spent in total? Well, what I know is they bought 23 bottles of ketchup for $8.48 each. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do $8.48 times 23. That's going to tell me how much the ketchup was. Now, to that number, I need to add how much they spent for the hats. Now, they spent $27.46 for all the hats, not just one hat. So I'm going to add to whatever this is the cost of the hats. That is going to tell me how much they spent in total. Once you know how much they spent in total, we're trying to figure out how much they spent each. So we are splitting that cost among five people. So think about what step is going to come last there if we're splitting up that total cost. And I think you guys can do that. All right. Awesome job, guys. We've been having great classes. Let's keep that up, and I'll see you guys later.